Hey everybody, what is going on? My name is Raven, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about Lizzie Borden. For those of you that do not know who Lizzie Borden is, she was an American woman that was tried and acquitted of the axe murders of her father and stepmother. Now, this video was inspired by a good friend of mine. So this is your shout out. I do hope you appreciate the video today. So thank you for letting me know and on this story. Thank you so much. Now, Lizzie Borden was born July 19th, 1860. Her mother's name was Sarah. Her father's name was Andrew. Now, her father struggled financially as a young man despite being the descendant of wealthy and influential family members. He eventually made some money in the manufacture and sale of furniture and caskets, then became a successful property developer. He was director of several textile mills and owned considerable commercial property. He was also president of the Union Savings Bank. Now, he was known as being frugal. The home lacked indoor plumbing, even though that is a common accommodation for the wealthy during that time frame. Lizzie did have an older sister, and her name was Emma. She was born in 1851. Now, her mother did pass away. I did not see why. If you guys know, make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. Her father, Andrew, married a woman named Abby Durley. Now, Lizzie stated that she called her stepmother Mrs. Borden instead of, Abby or something else. She thought that her stepmother married her father for his money. Now, they did have a live-in maid, and her name was Bridget. Now, she testified that Lizzie and Emma rarely ate meals with the parents. Even the stepmother and father, they didn't really eat with them. It is also mentioned that her father, Andrew, killed multiple pigeons in his barn with a hatchet. Now, it's because he believed they were attracting local children to hunt them. Now, this is something I find interesting. So, even though they do have a live-in maid, Lizzie and Emma's chores, part of their chores was that they had to clean the guest room. That is something I found very interesting. If you have the money to pay for a maid and to have a maid live with you, why make the children do the maid's work? I mean, I'm not saying that it's not good or bad or whatever, but that just seems kind of silly, don't you guys think? If you have a maid, would you want to be cleaning up when the maid is being paid to do that? I'm not saying servant or slave, nothing like that. I'm saying a maid. Abby, aka the stepmother, was facing her kill at the time of the attack. She was first struck on the side of the head with a hatchet, which cut just above her ear, causing her to turn and fall face down on the floor, creating confusions of her nose and forehead. Her killer then struck her multiple times, delivering 17 more direct hits to the back of her head, which killed her. Andrew was out, I'm guessing for work-related things. He returned home around 10:30 in the morning, or maybe he was out all night drinking. There's really no evidence as to what he was doing. Now, he did try to let himself in with using his house key, although that did not work. So he knocked on the door. So someone went to the door, and they unlocked it, finding it jammed. And they later testified that Lizzie was laughing, that the laughter was coming from upstairs. However, they did not see either of the girls. So they don't know who for sure was laughing or not. So this is interesting. So right after that, Lizzie stated that she then helped remove her father's boots and helped him get into slippers before he lay down on the couch for a nap, or as they like to call it back then, sofas. But this bit of information was contradicted by the crime scene photos, as the crime scene photos showed that he was still wearing his boots. So he was slumped on the couch downstairs, struck 10 or 11 times with a hatchet-like weapon. One of his eyes had been split cleanly in two, suggesting that he had been asleep when attacked. That pretty much means that they waited for Andrew to fall asleep on the couch and then hit him multiple times. Just after this, Lizzie calls upstairs, "Maggie, come quick! My father is dead! Someone came in and killed him!" But here's the problem. Why wouldn't anyone have heard a struggle if someone came into the house? So the police investigate Lizzie. and they asked her multiple questions, trying to get, sort of a statement or, try to build up a story. And apparently she was contradicting herself at times. Initially stated that she heard a groan or scraping noise, distress call before entering the house. Later on, she said that she didn't hear anything, and she didn't realize anything was wrong when she entered. Now, when it came to her stepmother, like where she was, she kept saying that, Abby received a note asking her to visit a sick friend, so she wasn't home. Although Abby was found in the spare bedroom upstairs face down. Now, this is also interesting. They never checked her for blood splatter. So they never checked to see if there was any blood on her, like if she had done the crime, they didn't check that. I don't know if it's because back in those days they didn't really do that all that much. I don't know. It is also said that after this, she was put on morphine to calm her nerves, and it is possible that being on morphine, your mind is not normally how it should be, especially if it's a high dose, things like that. So her behavior is erratic. She refused to answer questions, even if the question and answer combination would have helped her case. 5 days before her trial began, another axe murder occurred in Fall River. This time, the victim was a Bertha Manchester, who was found hacked to death in her kitchen. The similarities between the two cases were striking and noted by the jurors. However, Jose Correa de Mello, a Portuguese immigrant, was later convinced of Manchester's murder in 1894 and was determined not to have been in the vicinity of Fall River at the time of the Borden murders. So, is it possible it was a copycat? Possibly. Is it possible that it was not Lizzie? Possibly. Was it Lizzie and it was just coincidence that someone else used an axe? Who knows? At the end of the trial, the jury took only about an hour and a half to kind of deliberate everything that they were told during the trial, and they acquitted Lizzie Borden of the murders. And even after everything was said and done, she was acquitted, she was released from the case, from the crimes, from prison, jail, whatever they were doing with her. She still remained the prime suspect of the murders of her father and stepmother. But they never questioned anyone else. They only questioned her. So why didn't they question her sister? Why wouldn't they question anyone else? Why wouldn't they try to get more facts, more anything? Another suggestion or something that people brought up was that she was actually physically and sexually abused by her father, which drove her to kill him, because then that's basically her defending herself. Although there's no evidence, but incest is not a topic that would have been discussed at the time, and the methods for collecting physical evidence would have been quite different back in those times. So after the trial, the two sisters moved into a large modern house in Fall River. So it's still around the same area in the Hill neighborhood. I don't know how far that is from where the crime actually was committed. And it was right around this time that Lizzie began using a different name. Instead of Lizzie, she would go by Lizbeth. So from now on, when I mean Lizzie, I'm going to say Lizbeth. That way you kind of know that it's still her. So at the new house, Lizbeth dubbed Maplecroft. They had a staff that included live-in maids, a housekeeper, and a coachman. Because Abby was ruled to have died before Andrew, her estate went first to Andrew, and then at his death, it was passed on to his daughters as part of the estate. And a considerable settlement was paid to settle claims by Abby's family. So Abby's side of the family, like her parents, anything like that, were given money. Despite being acquitted for the crimes, she was ostracized by the Fall River Society. And her name was again brought into public eye when she was accused of shoplifting in Rhode Island. The last year of her life, she was considerably ill. She had gallbladder removal surgery, and she died of pneumonia on June 1st, 1927. Something else of note to be interesting, her funeral details were never published, and very few people actually attended. 9 days later, her sister Emma died from chronic nephritis at the age of 76 in a nursing home. And nephritis, for those of you that do not know, is basically a whole bunch of kidney diseases. That sounds very painful. Neither of the sisters got married, so they were buried side by side in the family plot in Oak Grove Cemetery. At the time of her death, Lizbeth, or Lizzie, was worth over $250,000, which in the year of 2020 is equivalent to about $4,998,000, so right around $5 million. Owned a house on the corner of French Street and Belmont Street, several office buildings, shared in several utilities, 2 cars, and a large amount of jewelry. She left $30,000, which around this time frame would be about $600,000, to the Fall River Animal Rescue League, and $500, or about $10,000 in nowadays money, in trust for perpetual care of her father's grave. Her closest friend and a cousin each received $6,000, which again, today's society money would be about $120,000. And numerous friends and family members each received $1,000. Now that's back in the day. About nowadays, it would be about 20 grand, or about $5,000, which is, $100 grand in today's society. So, let me know what you guys think. Did Lizzie Borden murder her father and stepmother to get, the houses, the money, the estates, everything? Or did someone else come in and murder them? Was it, her sister Emma? Did Emma do it and let Lizzie take the fall? Be sure to let me know what you guys think of today's video in the comment section down below. And if you did like this video, please be sure to hit the like button before you go. And if you're not subscribed yet, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you're part of this little growing weird gaming crime video family that I've got going here. And it not only shows that you want to be part of the family, it shows that you are supporting me as a creator. And also, it lets you know, especially if you hit the notification bell, it lets you know every single time I upload, which is almost every single day. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!